Journey has a little bitty feller from another country singing for them, and he's yummy. He looks like a little M&M. You could put him in your pocket. And you can tell he doesn't eat white flour and sugar. And he's singing and doing, he sounds like Steve Perry, but it's not the same. You know, Steve Perry's my boo. So it was like we were going to a tribute concert. But anyway, everybody in the band, besides this little fella, everybody had eaten white flour and sugar, probably had done dope and drank terrible things, and everybody looked sick. And the bass player looked like somebody I had bought my jewelry from for years. And they were just barely a-going. And then Def Leppard came out, and it was that lead singer, I think he's got thyroid issues. His hair was just thin and didn't have a lux to it. And then I noticed he had little bitty tiny legs and a little pot-belly stomach. But he sang "Put Some Sugar on It," which I hate that mess. I am a Earth, Wind and Fire R&B gal, and I love my Journey, but I was like, this isn't my thing. And my husband every once in a while would go, and then just sit down, because he loves it. But anyway, this little man with the tiny little legs and the thin hair, and then he had this little bump right here, and I could tell that's a hernia. He's got a hernia. And I bet that he hadn't had time to get it fixed. He hadn't had time to put a mesh in. And you could just see it. It looks like my stomach, because I've had a hernia, but I've had mine fixed. And I thought, oh, bless his heart. But he'd do, and he'd prop a little thin, frail leg up on something. Oh, I thought, isn't it funny how things have changed since I went to concerts when I was 20? Everybody was walking out like this because everybody had inflammation in their feet. Trying to get to their car. And it was like 10 o'clock. I thought, what are we doing out here? What are we doing? We gotta get home.
Celebrating the power of possibility.
Hey everybody, this is Leanne Morgan, and I believe that anything is possible.
This is Anything is Possible. My possibility superstar is, and this is one of the things I love, I get to call you friend. My friend Leanne Morgan, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you, my darling Halloran.
So let me
angel.
Let me say a few things. One, I love you. I really do. Chuck,
I love you.
I mean, it's a general agape type of I love you.
I love you.
I believe in you. I'm watching this new Netflix special, and I was just proud of you. I want to start at the very end. I have never seen this in the entirety of the history of every comedy special that I've ever seen, from Richard Pryor all the way through Leanne Morgan. I have never seen a comedian bring their family onto the stage at the end of the comedy special.
I'm gonna bring out my family.
The reason I know that was intentional because the top line in the special has written and performed by Leanne Morgan, executive producer Leanne Morgan, and you brought your entire family on the stage.
Did you see my baby? Did you see my grandbaby Charles Wilmer?
I saw the whole, you brought the entire, why'd you do that, Leanne?
I just, they're, everything to me, and I talk about them, they're my act, they're my life. they've always been involved in everything. I just thought that was the natural thing to do. And I wanted people to see them. And I know that my fans love all of them and want to see them and what they're doing and want to hear about them. They do. I've got the best fans in the world.
Do you realize the statement that makes? Like, I'm almost tearful about that. To the whole world, the family's important.
You angel, thank you for telling me that.
Thank you for doing that. That was powerful. All right, so
Thank you,
I'm not
Henry.
crying in front of Leanne Morgan. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that.
No.
But I just thought that was such a powerful exclamation point about who you are and what you believe. But now I want to get into the nitty gritty. You and I were having a conversation. This is 10, 12 years ago. And you were like, I don't know if any of this is going to happen. You remember this conversation?
We've had so many. Was I in a low point?
Yep. There was a pilot idea, and then it went away, and people were making you promises, and people weren't following through, and it wasn't. And you were like, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I just got to keep going. And I remember in the midst of that transition, and I'm sure you've been through a lot of them, you made a decision not to quit.
Well, yes, I had television deals, maybe 2 by then, and let me say that in 22 years of doing comedy, because God would give me these things, even if they didn't make it, it was like, Leanne, just wait, just hold on. I've got something for you. And he would give me these. I would be in Hollywood. I was in the game, but I was a mama in Knoxville, Tennessee. So there would be times when I would think, am I one of these kids on American Idol that thinks they can sing? You know, I would go through that and I'd think, maybe I'm a nut and I don't know, maybe I'm not. But then God would give me, a television deal with Matt Williams that created Roseanne and Home Improvement. And I would think, okay, I know I've got something. I got to keep going. And after that second deal, there was a long stretch in there where I could barely get arrested.
I remember this.
And my money never went up. Like I could only ask for a small amount of money. They would say, we're going to take your travel out of it. I could never make that jump. There were times I could not get booked. My manager at the time would beg people to book me and beg people. Even like little agents that are not even big agents, but like that do things for little corporate things. And they were like, meh, meh, meh. It was not going anywhere in 2018. And I remember with my husband, Chuck Morgan, out to eat, and I started crying, and I said, I think that I need to like open maybe if I opened a hardware store in Knoxville and people could come and I could have a big cheese wheel, like an old-timey hardware store, and I could sell baby shoes and canning things, and I could dazzle, and people would want to come and visit. I said, and he goes, Leanne, you've lost your mind. And I go, this isn't going anywhere. Like, that was a low, low time. I've always believed in myself, and I knew from the time I was a child this is what I was supposed to be doing. But that was a low time. And I think my children had left, everybody had left, and graduated, and it just wasn't going anywhere. And I said I had kind of a crisis that moment. And then I don't know why I kept going.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel.
You made a decision not to quit.
And I tell you, my manager at the time said, Leanne, there's this company in Salt Lake City, Dry Bar. Nobody's ever heard of it. It's a clean comedy platform. Nobody's ever heard of it. I remember him saying these words to me, nobody will ever see it. But they want you to do a special. They'll pay you a couple of $1,000s. They'll give you a hotel room. You're going to be in Dubuque, Iowa, doing the Chamber of Commerce luncheon That's how bad my career was going. I was doing the Chamber of Commerce luncheon in Dubuque, which, let me say, there's some of the prettiest people in Dubuque, Iowa. I don't know who those people are. They're beautiful. But they didn't even hire me to do the nighttime thing. I was the luncheon. You know, I barely got enough money to get out there on a tiny plane with propellers at like where I thought I was going to go down. But, and he said, why don't you just scoot on out to Salt Lake City and do that, and we'll get clips. If anything, we'll get clips for you to get more Dubuque of Iowa luncheons. I'm not kidding, that's what he said to me. He had hit a wall, he didn't know what to do, and I was like, okay. And I went out there and did that dry bar thinking, this is nothing. But that I don't know, it's gotten like 50 million views. And that really didn't translate into ticket sales. Like, I still couldn't get booked in clubs. They would book me in a club, but they would say, we love her. She doesn't get drunk and fight in the parking lot, but she can't sell tickets. You know, that's what they say. We love her, she's sweet, love her, can't sell tickets. And then, so the dry bar thing, I was getting all these views and fans and stuff, but it wasn't translating into ticket sales and all that.
Yeah.
And then I said to my manager at the time, when I say that because I'm no longer with him, because I said to him, all the people that I admire, all the people that I love to watch and that I'm a fan of have got social media people. And that's the new thing. And I think I should hire these people to do my social media. And he was like, you can't afford that and you don't need to do that. And I went against him. And it was a lot of money, but I invested in myself. And you know, Helen, I've done comedy for 22 years, but I was a mama first. And every dime I made, I bought uniforms with it. I got everybody's hair cut. I never invested in a website for myself. I had like 2 headshots in 20-something years because it was just, I don't know, that wasn't good business on my part, but I just put everything into my children. That was what I did. And then at this point, in 2019, I thought, I'm going to hire these and I'm going to give it 3 months. I'm going to give these young boys 3 months. And if it doesn't happen after that, I'll bow out of comedy. I knew I was going to have a grandbaby. Charlie got married right out of college. I knew they were going to have a bunch of babies. And I'm from the country. I wanted to be a Meemaw. And I thought, I'll go to work at Target. I'm not kidding. I thought, I'll go to work at Target and I'll put bedding up in the back on those things. That looks fun. I really did. I thought, I'll just bow out of this.
You were about to tap out.
Yeah, I thought, I'm going to give it this. And then, because I had worked, my manager got me in some clubs. I couldn't sell tickets. I could tell they were like, oh, she's one of those dry bar comics. Like I was really not a legit comic. And you know, over the years, like Comedy Central wouldn't have anything to do with me, you know. I would get no's from all of them. And so I thought, maybe I'm not legit. I mean, maybe this is it. This is the end of the road. And they put out one video about me taking Chuck Morgan to go see Def Leppard and Journey at Thompson Bowling Arena. And I talked about how, and I had filmed that. I had never done that bit before. I did it one time in Chattanooga. Somebody got it on film. Those boys put it out. And I've talked about old people at concerts and how everybody had plantar fasciitis and was worried about the snack bar.
And everybody there is our age. And every once in a while, somebody would stand up and then they'd sit back down.
And it went viral. And it was like a fire. Somebody lit a fire, and I could feel it. I could feel it in a wave go through my body. I knew what was happening. I was in New York City. We were moving my baby into school she went to school for makeup for television and film. We were in a tiny hotel room, and I said, I think something is happening. And Chuck said, the Uber's here. Get the luggage and let's get out. You know, everybody was worried about moving her in her apartment. And but in my heart, I thought, oh my gosh, something is happening. And I could feel it, physically feel it. Does that make sense? I physically felt something. I thought, oh my gosh, I knew it. I saw thousands of people sharing. Well, people saw that and started looking at everything else that I had online that liked that. And then my manager called and said, they want to book you back in Orlando. They want to book you in Tampa. They want you to come to Chicago. and I started selling out all over the United States. It happened I'm not kidding, in 2 to 3 weeks, my life changed. Is that not the craziest thing? It's so much more special and wonderful than anything I ever thought it was going to be.
The reason I'm sitting here and just absorbing what you're saying, and hopefully not stepping on what you're saying, is because I saw it happen. And I'm so proud of you for not quitting.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
For not giving up, for believing in the possibility. So it starts to happen. 100-city tour?
Yes. So I was selling out all over the United States in comedy clubs, one-nighters, and then and people were lined up, and these comedy club people were like, "Where have you been? Your audience is the best audience we've ever seen. They're not rowdy. We don't have to calm anybody down. They're not fighting. It would be, and this is what was special, it would be a grandmama, like an 80-year-old woman who's never been to a comedy club. Her daughter, 50, and then her daughter, like 25. And they said, we've never seen this before. And I would see these little elderly people sitting in the front row with a little brooch on, coming to a comedy club. and I'd think, I can't even believe this. And I really messed with my head, and I thought, I need to go home with every one of them and clean their house and make them a casserole. I really did, and put in a load of wash, because they're coming out and doing this for me. Because it had been years, where I could not, comedy clubs, I worked comedy clubs, like 5 or 6 a year would book me, but most of them were like, I didn't come up in them, so they didn't want me. So anyway, that was all crazy. And then my agent called me. Somebody begged, my manager begged somebody to take me as an agent. I was selling out all over the United States, and they still didn't want me. And I don't know if it's because I was a 50-something-year-old woman from Tennessee. I don't know what it was, but they had to beg a guy, like a favor, can you take her as her agent? And so he took me, sweet young guy, and they call me and they go, Outback Concerts out of Nashville, Tennessee, which I've known Mike Smartack and Brian Dorfman for 20 years. I've always wanted to be in business with them. They did the Blue Collar Tour, and they do all the comedians that you've ever loved. Called me and they said, we want to give you a 50-city tour. Put it on sale, sold out. They said, we're going to give you another 50. So that was the 100-city tour, and I named it the Big Panty Tour.
That's one of the funniest moments in this special where you talk about the big panties. You said, I like them to come up over my stomach.
I do. I really do. And I remember I went to Nashville, we were sitting around a big table, and all those men and women that work at Outback Concerts, who are the best of the best, said, what do you want to name it? And I said, I think I want to name it the Big Panty Tour. I've been talking about my panties a lot. And I've got my panties on my mind. And I think about all through the years, my act, has been based on my life. And I think, I went through maternity panties, tiny panties in the 80s when I was in sin, birthing, big panties. Then, then trying to get my weight off, went to Weight Watchers, tinier panties, And I just thought, this feels right to me. And they were like, we love it, Leanne, let's do it. And so I had the Big Panty Tour, had a ball. 18 months it took to get through those cities.
So let me ask you this, because I think about the business. There's so much I want to ask you. So did you guys merch panties on the tour?
We thought about it, and at the time I had a merchandise company that said that they said it's just beyond our capacity, we can't do it. But I thought about it. But through the Netflix, I signed a deal with Vanity Fair Lingerie, and I'm selling their panties, and and let me tell you how precious this is. They're in partnership with me because this new tour is called the Just Getting Started Tour, because I feel like I'm just getting started at 57 and a grandmama, and they love the fact that I didn't quit. I persevered. That a woman in her 50s, her life is not over, that anything is possible, you know, to keep going. And if you have a dream, to keep dreaming and doing that. So they're going to give money.
Chuck, every one of your daughters, your son, your grandbaby, you literally wove an arc that touched every one of your family members, and then you brought them all on stage, which I thought was genius. Was that the design? Because here's the thing that I wanted to say to you, to your face, and this may make you take to the bed, as you say. I'm not buying the "aw shucks, I don't know what I'm doing" thing. I think you are a genius comedy mind and a genius storyteller. I don't buy it. I don't buy, oh, it just kind of, I see too much design. Am I wrong about that?
Oh, you angel. Well, you know, I didn't.
Just tell the truth.
I didn't get a high score on my ACT. I'll just tell you that. And I'm so worried that's going to be uncovered.
Just tell me the truth.
But I do. I guess I do. Now that I've been doing this 22 years, I guess you're right. I do.
Did I read the thread properly?
I do a thread. Yes, I do. And if you go back in all my material, the few times I was filmed over the years, I always talk about every child, about their daddy. So I do. Like when I wrote this new hour, I've got a whole new hour now from Just Getting Started tour. There is a theme. There is there's a way that I do it.
There's a structure. Mm-hmm. You have a thing.
Mm-hmm. And through this tour, this new 100 cities, I'll add, I'll subtract things something will pop that I'll think, oh, that's so much funnier, and I'll leave out this part that's not getting enough, response. So yeah, it'll take me a while to perfect it, and I'll never say perfect it. It won't be perfect, but I'll do that. But I worked on that hour. It scared me to death because they said once this Netflix special airs,
yeah, it's gonna be.
You cannot say any of that. You got to do a whole new hour,
right? Because
the dry bar thing, which I couldn't do any of that either. But this scared me to death, and they said we're going to put you in LA and Southern California. In clubs all around, because if it can work in California, it's going to boom out in the middle of the country. So they put me in all these cities, and I was in 8 hotels in 4 weeks, and it scared me to death. And I thought, how am I going to come up with a new hour? I've been doing this for 18 months, and my children, it's my life, and now what am I going to, and then, but I worked it out in clubs, and now, I've got it. I've got the hour, but I'll
now
tweak
it's time to fine tune it. All right, in part 2 of this interview, I want to talk to you about comedy, but I want to talk to you about this Netflix deal, because we haven't talked about that yet.
Okay.
My guest is Leanne Morgan. I'm not buying it, by the way. I don't want to blow your cover, but I'm not buying it. She's a genius comedian, great friend. My guest on Anything Is Possible.
My middle one, we go and get spray tans together. And I love them, and I feel thinner in them. If you're going through a hard time, go get a spray tan. Makes you feel like a movie star. Okay, well, we went the other night, and this is the difference for you young mamas out there. Like, women going like in your 20s and 30s and even in your 40s when you still are, have life left in you. Okay. There's something happens to you when you're in your 50s, and it is wonderful. You don't care, okay? You don't care about anything. All right. We go to get a spray tan, and y'all know about Snapchat. There's a thing called Snapchat where you can video somebody and send it to your friend. Okay. Or send it out to the world, I guess. All right. I'm completely naked with a plastic bag on my head. In the spray tanning thing, and it's like a car wash. It does this. And then you do. And then you do. And then you do. Okay. And when it's cold outside, it feels like needles going in you. It's so cold. Oh, that's awful. But anyway, she started filming me on Snapchat, completely nude.
Now, in my 30s and 40s, I would have been hysterical, and I would have been in a bowl, and I would have been so torn up. In your 50s, at first I was like, and then I was like, I don't care. I think I may have gone. I don't care. I don't care. It's a wonderful feeling. I hope y'all can all get to that one day where you don't care. Honey, it's wonderful. I just don't care. Okay. All right. She is a beauty. And I know every crow thinks theirs is the blackest, but she's always had a bunch of boys coming around wanting to date her. So there was one that came around, and he was a player. Do y'all remember that, player? Remember? So the young people call it player. My husband's not a player. He doesn't chat at all. So he never sweet talked me or, he's not that way. Solid, though, solid. I've got good health insurance. But, he is never, charmed, not that kind of man. Okay. Well, she had this one coming around. He was a charmer. He was a player. And so he would say to me things like, Miss Morgan, you look beautiful. And I'd be like, can I make you a casserole? And eventually they broke up, praise God, because I was exhausted. I was blowing my hair out every day and mopping the kitchen floor.
I enjoyed my pregnancies and having babies. I did for the most part. And I noticed these darling little girls walking around in low-rising breeches. Good for y'all. Good for you, my darling. Let your little light shine. As long as you can, my angel, do not hide it under a bush. Boy, don't be nasty. Nobody's thinking anything nasty like that. And when I see these darling little girls, and I love it when they come to see the show because I'm so tickled to get to share with them what their future it's gonna be. It's all right. Everything's all right. Don't panic. Who in here has given birth? Can you clap or are you too tired? Oh, no, you haven't, you little bitty thing. Oh, my goodness. Oh, and I thought we could be friends. Oh, you doll. Is it girls' night out? Who's got those babies? The daddy? The daddy has the... Are you going... Oh. Oh, what are you going to have to do? Are you going to have to do something really nasty? What is that? Is that nachos? Keep eating the nachos, because maybe you can get like some gas going and some irritable bowel syndrome symptoms. That'll nip it in the bud, baby. These darling little girls, we're going to share with the ones who haven't had the little babies. The ones who have, they know what I'm talking about. These precious, good-looking men here tonight have witnessed this. The daddies in here. Okay, there is a uniform that you're going to wear day in and day out when you're home having your little children. Gray sweatpants, extra large. Your husband's Hanes white undershirt with 2 breast milk stains. Looking out the window thinking, where's she going with lipstick on?
I praise God that Weight Watchers doesn't have a limit on how many times you can join. Because I've done Weight Watchers 9 times. And I've lost 7 pounds in all. It's because I don't follow it. And I know it works. I really do. I know it works, but I go more for the comedy at the meetings. I don't know if y'all have ever been to a Weight Watchers meeting, but it is so funny. Okay, but like everybody comes up with recipes. Like the other day, we were there, and a woman goes, okay, if you put a teaspoon of cocoa and an egg white and put a dollop of water in it and pray over it and put it in the microwave, you've got chocolate cake. And we've all got our iPhone out and trying to film her. And then somebody will get up and they'll go, oh my gosh, y'all, there's fat-free chocolate mint ice cream, but you can only find it at the Harriman Walmart. And people start throwing chairs and like running in a panic. This is what I figured out about myself. Okay, I eat, and I think it's because I'm from sweet country farming people. We value our children and what we've grown to eat and what we've killed. So my people use food for everything. If you're happy, if you're sad, if whatever. I mean, a celebration, woo, okay. And I know I've done that, and I know that I eat emotionally, but I never wanted to ride around in a minivan on dope or alcohol with little children in the car. I didn't want to drink whiskey, so my kids would get to fighting, and my husband would say something hateful like, "What have you done all day?" And that would make me so mad, and I'd eat a hot dog, and I didn't even know what happened. But Weight Watchers has a point system. So say you get like 23 points out of the day, and you got to go within those points, and they'll say, fruits and vegetables are free. You don't want fruits and vegetables. When you first start, you're so hungry that you could eat the wallpaper off the wall. A chicken breast is 3 points. A Snicker bar is 12 points. That's what you want. I've been known to be in the closet turning a lamp on and off, eating a sleeve of Chips Ahoy cookies. So I try to stay within my points. All right, my sister will go on it every time I will, and she lives in Clarksville, Tennessee, and she'll call me and she'll say, it's noon, and I've eaten all my points. Let me tell you about this baby. We are becoming the best of friends, really, because she's now 21 years old, and she has always been a beauty and so smart and fun and hateful. Okay, so now she not to other people. She holds it in when she's in public so that she can come home and let it out on me. And that's okay, I'm her safe person. And I believe that God allows this
when your children get in about, I don't know, junior, senior in high school, because he knows that you're grieving, because they're gonna leave, and he knows that you're gonna take to the bed over it. So their junior and senior year, something happens, and they change on you, and they get to be the meanest people you've ever been around. So by the time they're ready to leave, you kick their crap out onto the curb. Her junior year, this started, okay, the very breath that I breathed out of my nostrils made her so angry. We were not allowed to eat cereal in our own home. Because she couldn't stand to hear us chew. And I don't mean to talk about her because she had a lot on her. She had a lot on her, like she had to empty the dishwasher. And that's a lot, you know. I'll give y'all an example. Okay, at the University of Tennessee in her sorority, these girls will come home, you know, and I'll cook for them and do, and I'm tickled. All right, well, they like Memphis, Nashville girls. Well, a little girl came home with her and spent 2 nights. So I washed that little thing's clothes, and all I said to this little girl was, Katie, you're so tiny. Your little underwear looks like a slingshot. That little girl thought it was funny, and my baby went. So I got out of there. So when that little girl left, I came back in, I went, what's wrong with me saying that her little panties look like a slingshot? I wish somebody'd say my panties look like a slingshot. My panties look like... Have y'all ever seen Mel Gibson in Braveheart? You know when they pull that big ball out and that thing looks like it's a catapult. They pull that big ball, fling it and kill a bunch of children with it. That's what my panties look like. Do y'all know who owns Victoria's Secret? I used to buy my panties at Victoria's Secret, but they started cutting me in two. All right. Do y'all know who, seriously, do y'all know who owns it? Satan. Okay, so I also wanted to not wear my glasses. And I love my glasses, and I think I look cute in my glasses. But when I'm on stage like this, they look very filthy through them, and I can't see people. And so I have now mastered contacts, but for years, it took me years to do that. And my precious, yummy doctor is out in Farragut, and his name is Dr. Charles Shield, the senior. The little yummy thing is in his 80s. He's about this tall. He wears, it looks like homemade blue jeans. I know they're not, but... And he wears them up under his little armpits. And he's so yummy. And he loves Cheesecake Factory. And he loves mango, cheesecake. I could eat his lips off. Okay, so I go in there and he goes, Leanne, you're going to have power on top and reading on the bottom, you know, because I'm 51. And so I was like, okay, but I want some contacts because I want to, you know, be hip and be able to wear. So that little thing straddled me for 30 minutes. We wallered each other and wallered each other. I thought, are we going to have to get married? And he said, I can't do it, Leanne. You keep shutting your eyelid, and I can't get in there to your eyeball. And you would think that I could touch my own eyeball. I mean, I've had 3 children 2 different ways. You know, like, I've been through some crap, so you'd think that I could touch my own eyeball. So I go home, and my husband used to wear them, but he had LASIK, and he said, I'll put those contacts in your eyeballs. And I thought, if he touches my eyeball, he'll want to touch something else. And I am so tired. And so my middle one, who's at the University of Tennessee, okay, she wears them. And so she has been helping me get them in now for the past couple of years and has to take them out for me, and we have to meet halfway. And she'll say, I've got a paper due. And I'll say, I'm so sorry, but I'm paying for everything. So, could you meet me at a gas station? She literally has met me in the bathroom, in a public bathroom, and like leaned me over the toilet and had to get them out. Okay, we went to Florida, and I wanted to be able to wear contacts. I didn't want to be on the beach and like wear my readers and then, you know, my glasses and look like a jeweler and then, you know, my sunglasses. So I put contacts in. We were in this outdoor thing, like shopping thing, where I was buying her something. I was actually buying her something. And I said, something doesn't feel right. This is hurting so bad. And she went, oh, Mom, you got 2 in your right eye. And she went and just grabbed it out of my eye. And she's like, what do you want me to do with it? I said, I don't know, butthole. Just leave it on the ground. No, you know what I've been thinking about? I thought about, Lord, Christmas is coming. And now I'm a grandmama, and you know, I'm out making a little money. But when I was a stay-at-home mom, when we first got started out and had little children, I remember thinking, oh my Lord, that Little Tykes kitchen's gonna sell out. And my husband doesn't like to let go of money till right at the end of Christmas. And I'm like, I gotta get there. Oh, okay, I'll do something nasty. I'm gonna. Okay, I'll do something nasty in that big Dodge Ram. Y'all won't believe the things I've done so my children could have a good Christmas. You know, but they always did. Oh, you little mamas, God love you. And then you gotta clean everything and cook and then wrap. I had a good friend that she said to her husband, if you'll wrap 3 Christmas presents, I'll have sex
a good
with
Easter.
You. She did. I remember that years ago.
All right,
and I remember
let me
thinking,
y'all, I had everybody at my house, and I was
okay,
exhausted,
I could do
and I
that.
thought,
Maybe I could do
I'm
that.
a good person now because everybody else has gotten too old.
I want to talk to y'all about, because I am 51 and going through hormonal changes. Okay, I am with their daddy, and these children all walked off and left me with him. And he's so not fun. And he can't help it. He's that way because he has to make a living for all of us. And he's got a lot on us, and all the money's going out the window. And, you know, because we got 2 in college, we just had 1 get married. Yes, but he and I are having to adjust being together for the first time in how many years, before we got married. And so he sends me emoji, kissy faces, and stuff like that. But I am low on progesterone and testosterone. He's low on testosterone, praise God. I've got too much estrogen, which evidently makes you hateful and bitter and angry. And so I sweat all night, just like I've done jazzercise in the bed all night. And I wake up, I've got sweat right here in the back of my head. My head just looks like fuzz in the back. And my husband, okay, so I put it on 67, and he says, I can see my breath, and that's a lie. But he's having to wear pajamas for the first time in our marriage, and we've got 2 beagle hounds that we're in love with because his children are gone. And so we've got a big one, and he takes the big beagle and spoons the big beagle at night. And I've got the little beagle, the little pocket beagle that we rescued, and she's got a nervous tick and eats our furniture and our fabric like a goat. But anyway, they sleep in the bed with us, and the bed is so nasty. Okay, so the little beagle, so he's spooning the big one. The little beagle backs her little butthole up to my head. And sleeps up against me all night. I love her. And in the morning, I can hear my husband when he gets up, he's kissing that big beagle and he's going, and I'm so thankful. Summer's almost over, and I don't know where it went. Do y'all feel that way? It just seems like it just left. Okay, and every summer I think, oh gosh, I've got to go buy a bathing suit. And now it's over, and I barely even wore one. What I've been wearing is my swim dress. Because my life is over. I did a show for a bunch of women, and one of the women came up and she said, you ought to go to Sears and get you a swim dress in the Land's End department. And I thought, should this hurt my feelings? So I did. I went to the Sears in Knoxville, Tennessee. They've still got our Sears open. I don't know if y'all's is open or not in Chattanooga. Okay, ours, you go in, there's not a soul in there. The lights are on. Nobody's shopping. Nobody's working. I mean, I felt creeped out, and I thought, are they running dope out of Sears? So I bought me a Land's End swim dress, and I gotta tell y'all, I'm beautiful in it. Okay. It gathers in right here where my hernia mesh is. And it shows my arms that I still have, because they're my daddy's. Jimmy Fletcher, I've still got his arms. Okay, I've still got my collarbones, praise God. And then it covers up white flour and the sugar. So I just get a spray tan and I'm good. Well, for years, I was in torment wearing a miracle suit. I don't know if any of y'all have bought a miracle suit before. I know they've got them at y'all's Belk. I know they got them. And there's gonna be a big gob of them hanging together because they have hundreds of them. And I wore one year. I felt so desperate after I couldn't wear a bikini anymore. I wore a lavender one in Hawaii, and my husband and I went, and they took this scuba video of us scuba diving, and I popped that video in from Maui, and I thought, oh, I can't wait, and this like big lavender thing goes by, and I'm like, what is that? I destroyed that video. It's awful. But anyway, so I get this miracle suit. They're at y'all's Belk, and it's got a big sign that says lose 10 pounds in 10 minutes. Miracle suit. You do, because you sweat yourself to death trying to get it on. Because it's got a girdle in it. The girdle's right through here because it's a one piece. So the girdle's right through here. It smooths you out sweat over their lip. And the 14-year-old said, ooh. Mom. Gross. Let's put it back and get out of here. She said, I can't. I've got to buy it. I just peed in it. I'll never forget the day that I found out about her, and I feel terrible about it now. But I was overwhelmed. I knew something wasn't right. I didn't feel good. I thought, oh my gosh, surely I'm not pregnant this quick, this soon. And you know when you got to know something, you got to know it right then. I had to know right then. I grabbed up my 2 babies and diaper bag and all that stuff you take with you everywhere you go, and I went to the Walmart in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And I bought an EPT pregnancy test, and I took it in the stall at Walmart. And I tinkled on it. And my 3-year-old boy looked at me, he said, what, is it positive? And it was. So I drove home just as fast as I could, and I called my husband at work. And I said, you're trying to kill me, aren't you? With a slow vaginal death. Is that what you're trying to? Well, you're not going to. You better get home right now, because I'm going to walk out in the woods and let the animals eat me. But let me explain to y'all why I was so torn up. I had a 13-month-old baby girl in diapers and a 3-year-old little boy in Superman panties with doo-doo balls falling out. At the grocery store. I thought, oh my Lord, did anybody see that? I don't have anything in my purse to pick it up with. Is some little child gonna think it's a milk dud? Let's just keep on moving, everybody. Just keep on moving. But God knew better than I did, because she's been a doll baby, but she's ruined. And I know I'm the one who did it. I was tired and beat down. So, anybody here who has more than 2, you know, good night by that 3rd and 4th one, you gotta let them do what they gotta do, you know. She still cries over anything. She cries because she knows she gets her way. I said, what's she crying about? She wants your toy? Well, just give it to her. I can't deal with it. Everywhere I go, I ask, do you think it's easier to raise girls or boys? And people say boys. And we love our girls. We love our girls. I'll give y'all an example. I'll be in the pickup line since she's been in kindergarten and now she's in 8th grade. Every day I get to go thank the Lord and pick them up from school. And I'm sitting in my minivan. All right, I'm watching them come out. And they are in a good mood. I saw it. And they're goosing each other and see you tomorrow. Okay. Then they come over my minivan. Get in. Shut the door. My 8th grader take her backpack, sling it, and hit me in the back of the head with it. Every day she says something like this. I'm starving to death. You don't have a piece of cheese in this car? Your driving's making me car sick. I hate her. Why'd you have her? And then my baby will be sitting up in the back and she'll be going, Mama, 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 Mama. What? Mama, Mama. I said, well, Lord, I don't know, honey, but if he did, I know he healed it. And then they'll be whipping each other in the back seat and squalling and fighting, and I hate you and I wished you were dead. And then my sweet boy would come out, and say something like, you know, they're building a new Home Depot up on 281. Just as happy-go-lucky. So they said, you're going to, for 10 weeks, you're going to do CrossFit 3 days a week, and you're going to do the paleo diet. The paleo diet is what God put upon this earth to sustain us. And he knows what we need. So it's lean meats, fruits, vegetables, nuts, berries, and seeds. So if you can run it down and kill it, dig it out of the ground, pick it off of a bush, you can eat it. That means no dairy, no grains of any kind. But when they take you lean meats, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and berries, you think, that's not so bad. Okay, but no dairy, no grains. When's the last time anybody in here got off of white flour? Anybody, can you clap? Can you clap or are you too weak? Anybody here been hooked on heroin? Anybody? I've never been hooked on heroin, praise God, but I was raised watching Shaft. I don't know if y'all watched that when y'all were little. On TV, shook, getting off of sugar and white flour. I was drinking coffee 24 hours a day. My teeth got yellow. I had to have those bleached. My husband said, you are so hateful. Will you please eat a piece of white bread? But Church of God Beacon, I did it, honey. We did it. And I mean, then they took our after picture. It took, 10 weeks later, and I did not lose that much weight. It was like 8 or 9 pounds, but my body turned into somebody else's body, honey. And it was pretty cute. And I leaned out and I thought, oh my gosh. And so then they took our after picture and I made sure I got a spray tan. And I had a really good bra on and I took that picture. And I'm ashamed to tell y'all, but I won that competition. No, stop. I don't deserve to be applauded. I know y'all are thinking, oh gosh, Leanne, that's wonderful, but what happened? What happened, Leanne? I'll tell you what happened. I did okay for about 3 weeks, and then I spotted a tortilla. That's what happened.